Another prediction is self-driving cars going rogue. In one episode, Homer is in a self-driving car, but the car won't stop, taking Homer on a wild ride. In 2025, we've already seen this happen, with a man getting stuck inside a self-driving taxi.
You already know what it is. It's your boy Laid Back with another reaction, another review, another episode. Hey, TikTok, you up to bet? Wow. It's your boy Laid Back. Welcome back to my channel. Hey, two things we gotta do. You gotta hit that subscribe button. I'm drinking this water. You already know what it is, man. You are the prize in 2025. You are the prize in 2025. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the notification bell. Stay up to date with all the videos. Make sure you hit the like button. But we back with another TikTok compilation, man. We got a lot of conspiracy stuff going on around the entertainment, cartoon space, movie space. Just prepare yourself for this one. You make it to the end of this one, you're a real one for real. But make sure you put that. Also, I got a TikTok playlist. If you into this stuff, you can binge watch. Share this with the last person you text in your phone. If you a real one, just share this with somebody. But let's go ahead and get into it. Fire Squad, what's popping? Let's get it.
You know the Nickelodeon theory?
Oh, no.
How Nickelodeon satanic?
No. What?
Yo!
What?
Nickelodeon, the word itself. You know what it actually means? Bag that! What the fuck does Nickelodeon mean?
Nickelodeon.
What does it actually mean? Like, where did that word come from?
That whole word, or is it like split into
guess
parts?
what it means in Latin?
No! It's Satan?
No, Nickelodeon in Latin. Translated to English, Nickelodeon means I don't care about God.
No, stop.
That's what it means.
Stop.
I care, but that's what it means.
What? No way.
I'll show you a video, fam. Check this shit out.
What? Okay, so it is split up. So you have to split up the words.
It's different words.
Okay. I don't know anything.
And then look. And then make the space.
Fuck.
No.
Yo.
It's crazy, bro.
Oh. Nickelodeon, like they take kid actors and put them into Hollywood, and then I
then
don't
make
know
it like,
why, but like all the kid actors turn out to be like bad after.
Do your own research. Do your own research.
Simpsons predictions for 2025. The Simpsons already predicted Trump winning in 2024, but in this episode from 2016, Homer can be seen wearing a badge that says Ivanka 2028, predicting Ivanka may run for president in 2028, and that in 2025 she will get even more involved in politics. She's already been seen in the White House many times, and it's believed Trump will pick one of his kids to continue his family's legacy. Another prediction is economic collapse. In an episode from the year 2000, The Simpsons show an economic collapse that happened during Trump's presidency.
As you know, we've inherited quite a budget crunch from President Trump.
We're broke.
The country is broke.
Scarily, this may already be happening. Basic items like eggs have risen in price by 20% since the beginning of the year, and inflation is still very high. People are already losing their jobs and houses, and according to many experts, this will get even worse in 2025. Another prediction is self-driving cars going rogue. In one episode, Homer is in a self-driving car, but the car won't stop, taking Homer on a wild ride. In 2025, we've already seen this happen, with a man getting stuck inside a self-driving taxi. Another Simpsons prediction is the World Cup. In an episode from 1997, the World Cup was hosted in the USA, and Mexico and Portugal played in the final. The upcoming World Cup will take place in the USA, meaning that these teams may face off in the final. The US has not hosted a World Cup since 1994, which is before this episode even aired. Another prediction is colonizing Mars. In a 2015 episode, the USA plans to colonize Mars. The episode ends with a glimpse into the year 2050. A few years after this episode aired, Elon Musk announced his plans to put 1 million people on Mars by 2050, exactly lining up with the date in the show. Elon is now more powerful than ever, and it's believed Mars colonization may begin this year, with unmanned ships going to Mars.
Crazy.
How would the Simpsons keep predicting
everything?
They predicted the Apple Vision Pro. There's an old Simpsons episode where people are walking around with those goggles and they're falling into manholes, and now you're seeing people out there in the street swiping things and moving away and wearing these goggles on the street.
I can't believe they got Trump on the escalator, though. That to me is one of the craziest ones, when they got him riding the escalator down like he did in that one moment where I think he had just declared for the presidency, and he kind of rode this elevator down.
Yeah, how did the
And
Simpsons do that? Here it is.
Yeah.
Look at this. They literally had Trump. waving. It's the same photo. It's so crazy.
Same thing on and everything.
The Teletubbies conspiracy theory claims that the show was inspired by events that happened in a Bulgarian mental facility called La La Land. Children there were isolated from the others and placed in dark rooms. But apparently 4 of those children died on the same day, inspiring the Teletubbies. Lala apparently had facial disfigurement and was isolated for 5 years, and that inspired the Teletubby Lala. Toite was a deaf, facially disfigured kid who was tied to a fence outside and had gotten frostbitten from the cold. This inspired Tinky Winky. Donka, who was starved and was very, very sick, would lay in his own vomit for days, inspired Dipsy. And finally, Paulina, who had fell into a fire and was roasted alive, inspired Poe. But you won't believe the reason they were called the Teletubbies. You see, the children's main source of entertainment in their rooms were their TVs. They were as small as a small iPad. Sometimes when they heard their toys was going to be confiscated, they would hide them in their mouths. And they had just found out that the institution was going to get rid of the TVs. And they didn't want that, and they couldn't hide the TVs in their mouths. So one of them had the great idea to hide them in their stomachs, because that's the only place they could fit. Mind you, these kids are a little bit not all the way there. So they came up with a plan to rip their insides out in order to fit the TVs inside and hide them. They tried it, and the next morning, the caregiver walked in on all 4 children dead.
Whoa, is that true?
Do you know why Mr. Krabs is so greedy?
He loves money.
Yeah, but why? It's because when he was a kid, he grew up in poverty and his dad died young.
Jeez.
Because remember, he had to come up with like ways to scam stuff. 'Cause remember, he would put it in the slot. He'd put the coin on the string in the slot.
Yeah.
He'd pull it out and he'd get it for free.
Yeah.
And since he grew up in poverty, he's saving every penny he gets now. Because he doesn't want to go back to that life. And we've seen Mr. Krabs grew up in like this bikini bottom depression era where money was hard to come by. And he had to fight through the war.
Yeah, that's true.
So he's already got that PTSD mindset where he needs to save everything he gets. And he definitely does. The Krusty Krab was originally the Rusty Krab.
Huh?
From Spongebob.
The original name for it was the Rusty Krab?
Yeah, it was a retirement home that Mr. Krabs bought and painted a K on and turned it into the Krusty Krab restaurant.
It's so cheap he can't even bother coming up with an original name.
But the weird thing about it though was that the Krusty Krab was originally Mr. Krabs' pirate ship.
He was a pirate?
Yeah, way back in the day. But he ended up selling it after the war, and it got turned into a retirement home. But after he fell into like a deep depression, he decided to buy it back and turn it into his restaurant. So he's had that Krusty Krab for a long time.
I just wonder what happened to the old people after he turned it into a restaurant.
Yeah, could be the secret formula.
The secret formula. Old people.
Wait a minute. You did work on the Simpsons, right? Yeah. Okay, so that's the season where y'all predicted Donald Trump, right?
Don't believe those. It's just coincidence. You mean all those predictions, Donald Trump and aliens were gonna come? Nah, it was just a
film, bro. Film.
It was a lucky guess. You know what was a lucky guess? Did you see the second Back to the Future movie?
I also saw it was a 9/11.
No, did you see Back to the Future?
Well, it kind of seems like you're switching the topics.
He's
peace, love.
What's his name? Fox.
What about the 9/11?
No. They didn't predict anything about 9/11.
You've seen it, right? The Twin Towers, the 9 towers beside it.
So how would you explain it?
Hold on a second.
He ain't about to say nothing.
No, it was a coincidence.
Yeah.
Have you heard of the theory of how SpongeBob started? Okay, so 3 years ago, Screen Rant did a video, and they said that SpongeBob was actually the result of a nuclear test site. Okay, so we all know in the show that we see these fish, and they live like a human life, right?
I mean, they literally drive cars in SpongeBob.
Right, but the reason that they're able to do that is because the radiation from nuclear bombs mutated them. So there was an article back in 2018, right? And in the 1940s, the US made like a nuclear bomb test site in the Pacific Ocean, and it was called Bikini Atoll. So the reason why they call it Bikini Bottom is because it's under Bikini Atoll. It's literally a place where they would test nukes, and the radiation is what mutated this fish.
Oh, how weird. So SpongeBob could be about like a real life story.
Sandy, right? She's like a squirrel that went down, and nobody knows really why she's there, but she's studying the aftermath of those bombs. She's studying the fish. on how they mutated.
She's always wearing the helmet, the fishbowl helmet. So she's never exposed to like the...
It's like a hazmat suit.
Yeah.
She's never exposed.
Even her house, remember, like, there's like 2 or 3 doors you have to go through.
Yeah.
And it's like air sealed tight.
Right. And you know, in Bikini Bottom, like, some of the buildings are like really like weirdly shaped. Like, they don't look like they like were structured very well.
Right.
Like, they're kind of like bent to the side and everything, right?
Yeah.
It's because those are the used bombshells.
Oh my god.
Whoa. Let me know in the comments.
Have you ever heard of the conspiracy theory about Mrs. Puff? There's a theory that Mrs. Puff may have a very dark past. In the season 2 episode of SpongeBob titled Lighthouse Louie, it was revealed that before Mrs. Puff came to Bikini Bottom, she lived in a place called New Kelp City, and that she may have been responsible for a terrible accident that happened there. Because in that episode, there was a scene where SpongeBob was going through a whole bunch of junk, and he ran across this newspaper article. The article is from the New Kelp Post and reads, "Deranged boat teacher makes getaway." And then at the bottom says distracts authorities with balloon animals. And it clearly shows a picture of Mrs. Puff. But here's when things get a little spooky. It might be a clear indication that Mrs. Puff is not who she says she is. Because if you take it back to the season 2 episode No Free Rides, there was a scene where she says, "I have to move to a new city, start a new boating school with a new name." Then she says, "No, not again." Do you remember this part about distracting authorities with balloon animals? Rewind it back to this scene with the balloon animal. I don't know about y'all. I think Mrs. Puff got some explaining to do.
I wouldn't know.
Every Disney princess is supposed to represent a disorder. Psychologists took a study down and they said in every Disney princess, there's like a clear disorder that they have. Ariel, if you notice, Ariel has a big ship and there's so much things around her. So she's a hoarder and that's a form of OCD.
Is that OCD?
Oh. Yeah, she has so much stuff in her ship, but she doesn't throw it away. Easy one, Alice from Alice in Wonderland. What do you think she has, bro? She sees caterpillars walking around with eyes.
Oh, she has schizophrenia.
Schizophrenia. Belle, she was captured and put in a castle, right? So this is called Stockholm Syndrome. That means you fall in love with your captor.
She fell in love with the beast because he was the only one there.
Exactly.
Oh, shit.
Elsa and Anna, they're really reckless.
Oh, Elsa has bipolar.
Yes.
Yes, she has bipolar. 100%. I just saw that on the fly.
Elsa and Anna, warm to cold, bipolar.
Damn.
Yeah.
They might be on to something.
Why was this SpongeBob episode banned from England and Australia? The episode is called Gary Takes a Bath, which is the 13th episode from season 2. In the episode, SpongeBob attempts to make Gary take a bath, but he just doesn't want to. So he takes drastic steps to accomplish it. First, he throws a ball into the bathroom and tells Gary to fetch. But it's a boomerang pet ball, so it comes right back and hits him in the face. Next, he straps a bomb to his own chest and tells Gary that it will explode if he doesn't take a bath, but Gary still doesn't move. SpongeBob then tries to hypnotize Gary with subliminal messages, but the disturbing imagery doesn't seem to help either. The whole episode continues showing all the insane and aggressive attempts SpongeBob makes just to clean Gary, and it gets pretty brutal by the end. But the controversial part happens when he plans a fake treasure hunt leading to the bathtub, where SpongeBob said something that was quite frankly out of character.
Wow, Gary, look! A pirate treasure chest! Meow!
Why, no, Gary, this isn't the bathtub. It's treasure! Look, doubloons! Don't drop them.
If you think...
Here's the dark truth behind Mr. Krabs. Since Mr. Krabs is the only crab in Bikini Bottom, fans believe he killed all of the other crabs to make Krabby Patties. In this episode where Mr. Krabs is fighting with Plankton over the Krabby Patty's secret formula, he accidentally ripped off the part where it says Krabby is a secret ingredient. And in an episode where Mr. Krabs takes a bite out of a Krabby Patty, he says, "Oh, that's what I taste like." And that's why Mr. Krabs was scared when the health food inspector came. They also believe this is why the Krusty Krab is shaped like a real-life crab trap.
Wow.
Truth Hidden in TV Shows Part 3. So we're going to talk about today is a very well-known adult comedy by the name of American Dad. We all know American Dad is this comedic sitcom where we can always get a laugh out of. It can also get a little dark sometimes. That's exactly what I'm about to show y'all. On season 2 episode 13 titled Black Mystery Month, which aired February 2007, started off very normal when Steve was assigned to do a research paper on George Washington Carver. It takes a very dark turn when he uncovers a conspiracy and decides to look deeper into it, which ends up leading him back to this secret society. It definitely looks oddly familiar. I'll just show y'all this clip because the episode explains it all. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments, and let me know if y'all want a part 4 as well.
That's weird. Hammy.
Yes?
I'm afraid we've got some chocolate in our peanut butter.
And I have some questions about a weird symbol I found on peanut butter jars. It's probably nothing, but...
No! It's like this huge thing! It's time the truth came out. Come see me at 3 o'clock. And be careful. They're watching you.
Talking about, why are these people chasing me?
You stumbled upon the most dangerous secret in American history. Now they want you to pay for it. With your life.
These are some cartoon theories that may actually be true. So Princess Peach doesn't fight back herself against Bowser because she secretly is attracted to Bowser and not Mario. And speaking of Mario, he may be a communist due to his affinity for red, use of a hammer, and striking resemblance to Joseph Stalin. Ash Ketchum was in a coma for most of Pokemon after falling off a bike, which is why he never ages physically, gets no pushback for being a 10-year-old that plays with wild animals, and sees the same nurse and police officers in every city he goes to. All of the characters in Winnie the Pooh represent different psychological issues that Christopher Robin has in his head, like depression and ADHD, and Garfield is suffering from severe malnourishment, and so John and Odie are thought to be hallucinations. All of the babies in Rugrats are a figment of Angelica's imagination, which is why she's the only one who can talk to them, just like Nemo doesn't exist and is a figment of Marlin's imagination since he actually died at the very beginning of the movie. And lastly, and this is actually true, but Bikini Bottom was a fallout of nuclear testing that occurred at Bikini Atoll in the 1950s, which is why buildings are made of old parts and characters have radiation deformities.
I need to look into that because that is crazy.
Did you know the movie Frozen is actually a major cover-up? When Walt Disney passed away, it was rumored that his body was cryogenically frozen and hidden beneath the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. Disney had always been obsessed with cryogenics and was confident that in the future, when the technology had advanced, his consciousness could be reawakened and he could experience the future. It's alleged that someone working in the park leaked a photo of Walt Disney's frozen body on the internet. And to make it all go away, Disney produced the movie Frozen to change Google's search algorithm so that users searching the terms Disney and Frozen will come across the movie and will never come across Walt Disney's frozen body. If you search the words today, you can see their plan worked. Recently, hackers managed to uncover the hidden photos of Walt Disney and posted them online. If you want to see them yourself, click on Share, then More, then Chrome.
Whoa. He was frozen and they got pictures of it?
There's some new Simpsons predictions. For the 2026 World Cup, it shows in an episode recently, it's supposed to be Portugal versus Mexico in the 2026 World Cup. Ronaldo's final World Cup.
Wow, right after Messi wins one?
Ronaldo's supposed to get there.
Wow, the story writes itself right there.
Kind of like seems set up. It's like too good to be true.
Right. It's like a WWE storyline.
There's another new one that Ivanka Trump is running for president in 2028.
They're going to try to keep the Trump legacy in the White House.
So that means maybe Trump wins 2024 if they're going to try and run on that legacy. And in 2025, there's supposed to be another environmental disaster. Kind of like COVID, but environmental.
Like a meteor?
No, it's probably be like global warming or something crazy like that. Or some outbreak.
Some crazy flood, maybe.
Yeah, maybe chemicals rise from the ground. Because it was from the Simpsons movie. So that one's got to be legit.
Oh, yeah.
They put the big bubble, the dome.
They had the dome, that's right.
I hope it ain't nothing crazy happening in 2025.
There's a dark secret hidden in Cocomelon, and it all comes down to this baby. In our recent theory, we proved that JJ from Cocomelon must be at least 3 years old based on how much he walks, talks, and where he sleeps and poops. Yes, really. But JJ doesn't look 3 years old, and one big reason is he's basically bald. This is weird because children should have a full head of hair by age 2. And this isn't just some artistic choice made for Cocomelon characters. All of JJ's friends have full heads of hair, so what's going on here? Well, the evidence is pointing to JJ suffering from alopecia areata, a disorder where your immune system attacks your own cells. In this case, your hair follicles, resulting in bald spots as small as a coin or as large as your entire head. About 160 million people worldwide suffer from the disorder, often developing it during childhood. In fact, 1 in 1,000 children are diagnosed with alopecia areata. Thankfully, the disorder isn't dangerous, something I wish I could say about everything else JJ is going through. But to find that out, you'll need to go watch our full theory on how
Baby got alopecia.
Disturbing facts about Disney that will leave you shocked.
18-year-old actress who voiced Snow White was paid less than $1,000 to do it. She also was not credited. The Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland used real skulls in its set design when it first opened. Actress who played Lilo in Lilo and Stitch also played Samara in The Ring. Part of your world was almost cut from The Little Mermaid because the chair of Walt Disney Studios was afraid that kids would think that the song was boring. Stan from Beauty and the Beast in the 1995 version was the first male villain in any Disney princess movie. After Finding Nemo came out, there was a problem with kids around the world flushing their fish down the toilet so that they could go back to the ocean.
Wow.
The music on the It's a Small World ride never, ever turns off. Follow for more facts.
Some of this stuff is weird, though.
Did you know Squidward's not a squid?
It's in the name, Squidward. What are you talking about?
No, he's an octopus.
What?
Yeah, even the creator said he was gonna name him Octoword, but it sounded too weird, so he went with Squidward.
No.
Yep, look it up. And I mean, it makes sense because there was a theory that like Squidward's immortal because he goes through so much crap. Like in some episodes, remember the jellyfish shocks him while he's like in a giant full body cast?
Yeah.
He just goes through hell in most episodes, and he survives everything because he's an octopus. He's able to like
regenerate.
Right.
Well, wait, how many tentacles does he have?
Well, actually, if I think back, like he's got like 2 on the arms, so that'd be 4, and then 2 on the legs, each side of the leg.
That's 8. I mean, is his nose a tentacle though? It's pretty long.
My name is Squidward. And I hate my life.
I was gonna say, why you wake up like that?
The original Peter Pan is so dark. The Disney version, Peter takes these kids off to Neverland where they never grow. But in the original version, Peter's basically the angel of death. He kidnaps these children by promising them they'll never grow up because he's so obsessed with youth and staying young forever. And he wants to be around youth all the time. And then when he sees these kids start to age or mature, he kills them.
Oh, what?
To live up to his promise that they'll never age. He won't let them. So he takes it into his own hands.
That's in the source material?
That's in the source material. He can't handle adults. He hates adults, and that's why he attacks Captain Hook and the pirates.
Yeah, isn't Captain Hook the good guy?
Yes, Captain Hook knows what Peter Pan is doing to these children, so he's trying to save these naive, innocent children from going back with Peter Pan to Neverland.
One Piece has convinced me that pirates are actually like the good guys.
What makes you think I want to play pirates with you?
No, the other thing.
I kill your kind for a living?
No.
That Peter Pan stuff is weird.
The Simpsons predicted Donald Trump's 2024 run for presidency in another long line of accurate predictions throughout the show's 32-year-long run. From halftime shows to smartwatches, horse meat scandals, and famous acquisitions, they've been pretty spot on. So let's take a look at them. In season 11, episode 17, Lisa becomes the president of the United States, where she mentions her predecessor was Donald Trump, who ended up being elected 16 years later. In season 8, episode 1, Homer stands in front of a complicated equation on a chalkboard, which 15 years later was proved to be the exact equation that predicts the mass of the Higgs-Boson particle. In season 29, episode 1, they accurately predicted Daenerys Targaryen's plot twist on the finale of Game of Thrones. In season 10, episode 5, they accurately predicted Disney's acquisition of 20th Century Fox, which happened 19 years later. And in season 5, episode 10, they predicted the tiger attack of Royhorn 10 years before it happened. That is all for this video, but as always, if this interested you and you want to see more like it, I'd really appreciate if you followed along. Thank you.
This Simpsons stuff is crazy too.
Truth Hidden in TV Shows, Part 4. The show we're going to talk about today is a well-known kids cartoon by the name of Teen Titans Go. On season 4, episode 17, titled Master Detective, this episode, Robin and the Teen Titans go on a mission to figure out what happened to all the animals outside the tower. When they went deep enough underground, they ran into an even bigger problem, which was the head of the Illuminati. My question is, why would this be in a kids show in the first place? Sad thing is, this isn't even the only one. Said that they put this in kids shows to try and normalize it for the next generation. Everyone knows them as this so-called secret society who runs the world. Without further ado, let me show y'all this clip and y'all let me know what y'all think about it in the comments.
I suppose there's no harm in walking you through our plan for world domination. We did work hard on it. It all starts here with the banks.
We don't care about the bank. Now talk! Where are the animals?
Really? I don't know. I'll stop all our domination plans. I'll pull my lizard men out of Congress. We'll stop using Hollywood to hasten the New World Order. Just let me go.
What? Come on, man.
Cancel all the plans you have for 2025 because The Simpsons has already predicted the future. Okay, I know some of you are going to disapprove of this, but I decided to ask ChatGPT which Simpsons predictions will come true in 2025, and I was surprised by the list it gave me, especially by the first prediction. Now, before we unravel this list, let me show you what The Simpsons has already predicted, because I'll be honest, I severely underestimated just how many times they were actually right. In 2002, The Simpsons portrayed an unusual scene with Donald Trump and the King of Saudi Arabia laying hands on a large orb. In 2017, this footage resurfaced when this exact scene came into fruition. If you're already stumped by that, what The Simpsons predicted about Donald Trump is going to leave you speechless. It's no secret that Trump wanted to be the president of the USA, even back in the 1980s, before The Simpsons even existed. So when they predicted that he would achieve this goal, some would argue it's not even that impressive. However, back in 2000, before Trump was even president, The Simpsons animated this iconic sequence with Trump waving to his supporters on an escalator, which, scarily, in 2015 would be repeated to the exact detail. Even more difficult to explain, and just remember this was written back in 2000, is when Homer shrinks and climbs into Trump's hair, and it is here where he sees many things, and one of them being a sign that says Trump 2024.
What?
22 years later, on the 15th of November, as you know, Trump announced that he would be rerunning for president again in 2024. Okay, we might need the Trump surname later for when I show you the ChatGPT's predictions for 2025. But first, allow me to show you the other biggest coincidences between The Simpsons and real life. Have you ever heard of the God particle? Admittedly, I don't really like the title, but in an episode in 1998, Homer came up with the mathematical equation for the God particle on a blackboard. This is 14 years before physicists had even discovered it. Am I the only one who kind of thinks that adds a new layer to the phrase, you couldn't even write this stuff? It's official. Shakespeare was right. The world's a stage. In 1995, The Simpsons showed a London landscape with Big Ben, Tower Bridge, and in the exact future location, the Shard. In case you're confused, the Shard was actually only built in 2012. Then in 1992, the show came up with the idea of a baby translator, which in 2013 was invented in real life. Okay, now watch this clip very carefully, because in 1998, The Simpsons showed their viewers the iconic 20th Century Fox logo. But just notice, at the bottom it says, a division of Walt Disney & Co. So you tell me, how did they know that 21 years later this would really happen and Disney would buy 20th Century Fox? I'm not gonna lie, this next one really messed with my head. All the way back in 1998, in a Simpsons episode called Lisa the Skeptic, Lisa shows her list of names for who she predicts will be the future Nobel Prize winners. And if you look closely, one name mentioned was Bengt Holmstrom. And then, who should be the 2016 Nobel Prize winner? You guessed it, Bengt Holmstrom. Speaking of lists, what do you think was on the list of The Simpsons 2025 predictions according to ChatGPT? Well, I can't wait for your opinion on this, but some of you I know still need convincing that this isn't anything more than just one big coincidence. And guys, I'll be honest with you, as you know, like most of the first parts of my videos, I'm only doing this just for entertainment purposes. That being said, the 2010 episode Boy Meets Curl was a very accurate prediction. In it, the US men's curling team wins gold and Sweden wins silver. This would later happen in 2018. And although it is a little bit more difficult to explain, I do believe some of these predictions are actually just copied by the mainstream media to gain more publicity and thus gain more viewers. If you need proof of this, take a look at this 2012 Simpsons scene where we see Lady Gaga at the Super Bowl during her halftime performance. Are you trying to tell me that Lady Gaga wasn't aware of this in 2017 scene when she was posing in the exact same way, just like how The Simpsons had portrayed her in cartoon form. I also believe that Miley Cyrus copied Homer Simpson's visual wrecking ball sequence, which was aired back in 1994. But again, you tell me, does the 2013 version by Miley actually have zero connection? Because I do fully admit I could be reaching here. But let's face it, this dragon scene from The Simpsons must have given some kind of inspiration for this scene in the Game of Thrones. And I am confident that this fashion parade in 2021 was a collaboration with The Simpsons. But again, I do find it a little curious that Anne Wintour, who was spotted here with the most famous woman in the world at the time, I find it interesting if she was also in on the plan.
Whoa, this stuff is crazy.
Why is no one talking about this Simpsons prediction? Watch
What if
this.
your wife finds out?
It's modern times. Everyone's doing it. Where did my Christian limo driver go?
That's crazy.
My pious husband is missing. The baby I chose to have baptized is gone. Mr. Thompson, what's happening?
It's the rapture, Shauna. The rapture. The virtuous have gone to heaven, and the rest of us have been left below. We were fools, and because we rejected God, tacitly accepting Satan, we must suffer through the apocalypse.
I thought all religions were a path to God. I was wrong.
Why did I put my faith in science?
There is coming a day where Jesus will rapture everyone that's for Jesus, and if you choose Jesus, then I want you to follow or subscribe for more Jesus content like this.
Dang, that was very interesting.
The Simpsons predicted that archaeologists would uncover hidden chambers, tunnels, and artifacts beneath pyramids, revealing ancient secrets. Over the years, scans have confirmed secret rooms, like the hidden void in the Great Pyramid of Giza. Many pyramids have underground burial chambers filled with treasures, statues, and hieroglyphs that tell stories of the past. Some, like Teotihuacan in Mexico, contain mysterious tunnels, possibly used for rituals or hidden treasures. Scientists have even found unknown chemicals in tombs, likely used for preservation or ceremonies.
Unknown chemicals.
These discoveries align with The Simpsons' uncanny ability to predict real-world events, keeping fans amazed at their accuracy. Like and follow for more fictional stories.
These are the darkest episodes in kids' cartoons. In an episode of Care Bears, the bears and their cousins find themselves in a place called Drab City, where color has vanished and people who live there don't seem to care about anything. This was caused by a mysterious force that took everyone's color and feelings away. And slowly, it started going after the bears, and they eventually gave in until help arrived. The whole episode was about mental health, and it came off as way too heavy for a kids show. Next, in The Fairly Odd Parents, Timmy gets upset for not being appreciated for the good deeds he's done and wishes he was never born. He's then transported to an alternate universe where it shows that everyone's lives are better without him. And to add insult to injury, Timmy gets sent to what's basically the pits of hell. And when Timmy gets a hold of Jorgen's wand, he takes time to think if wishing himself to exist is worth making everyone's lives miserable. It's a pretty dark and messed up plot. And lastly, this Thomas and Friends episode starts as per usual, with Thomas giving a helping hand. Then, it's not long after that a character named Stepney ends up getting lost in a scrapyard, getting lost in a fog and almost getting scrapped in the process. This was meant to warn kids to be careful while on their journeys, or you may not live to tell your story.
Damn. Damn.
Tom and Jerry are friends.
Wait, how are they friends? They literally try to cook each other up.
Well, it's all fake. Tom and Jerry fake their fights so Tom doesn't get kicked out for not doing his job. Just look at the episode Push Button Kitty. The owner watches Tom lazily lay down as Jerry steals cheese. So the owner buys a mechanical cat to catch the mouse. It literally bonks Jerry on the head and yeets him out the window. It worked so well that Tom got kicked out.
But they still fight when the owner's not around.
Yeah, because practice makes perfect. Plus, they went to Naples.
What is that?
It's a place in Italy. Tom and Jerry explore, eat, but even defeat a group of hostile dogs together.
Bro, in that same episode, Tom is trying to smash Jerry with a frying pan.
Some stuff is just not.
The Spongebob hijacking.
In 2005, in the middle of a SpongeBob episode, it started glitching and making disturbing sounds. Many kids around the world reported seeing this at night. The episode started normal like nothing happened, and then just got progressively weird.
Whoa.
A kid named John actually pulled out his camera at the time and caught it on film.
Whoa.
You're ugly. You gotta be kidding me. Better try the reflection test.
Whoa. What?
Sunday, quarantine Nick.
What?
This cartoon predicted Epstein's Island.
Bring in the boys to Pleasure Island, and then he starts whispering what happens to the boys. Watch it. Ooh.
Now, Coachman, what's your proposition? How would you blokes like to make some real money? Well, and who do we have to, No, nothing like that. I'm connecting stupid little boys. You know, the disobedient ones what play hooky from school, and I takes them to Pleasure Island. Pleasure Island. Pleasure Island? But the law, suppose they... No, there's no excuse. They never come back.
Whoa.
As boys.
Jesus Christ. What is that? It's so creepy. And they're not going to kill him. Oh, Jesus Christ. No. You want to make real money.
Nah, that's weird.
The Simpsons predicted 2020 and 2021. In 2013, The Simpsons broadcast an episode which showed Kobe Bryant, the basketball player, in a helicopter crash, where he tragically died. Of course, only last year, he tragically did. Over 15 years ago, The Simpsons broadcast an episode showing some kind of virus, which came from China and infected everywhere in the world, causing chaos and a pandemic. And of course, look at what happened last year, and this year with COVID. In 2005, they broadcast an episode which showed police stations being burned down to the ground after protests. And of course, last year there was lots of protests with Black Lives Matter, and police stations were burned down. In 1999, The Simpsons broadcast an episode showing riots at Capitol Hill, and Trump was there. And of course, only in January this year, we had the horrific riots at Capitol Hill. The Simpsons also have some pretty terrifying theories for what's going to happen this year. For example, the death of Trump, finding life on Mars, and a lot more.
Is The Simpsons predicting the future? It is said that The Simpsons successfully predicted 30 future events, and since then, many more have come true. One of the events that most believe in is the idea that the show predicted the 9/11 attack in the episode The City of New York versus Homer Simpson. The Simpsons buy a New York City guidebook. The cover has a price of $9, and it is next to a picture of the Twin Towers. Some say that this looks like 911. This is just one of the show's many predictions. In the 1998 episode The Wizard of Evergreen Terrace, Homer becomes an inventor, and he is standing in front of a blackboard with an equation. Allegedly, the same equation ended up being used to prove the existence of the God particle. This particle helps explain how everything in the universe has mass. So,
shit crazy.
It took me 24 years to realize SpongeBob characters represent disorder. SpongeBob himself is a possible representation of ADHD, as he's hardly ever still and his attention span is quite short, except when it comes to tasks that he's really interested in, like cooking and jellyfish hunting. Patrick represents Down syndrome or intellectual disability, while Sandy has borderline personality disorder, which comes from her extreme mood swings and impulsivity, which leads to risky activities. Squidward obviously has social anxiety disorder and major depressive disorder, while Plankton is bipolar. Ms. Puff has PTSD, resulting in a general anxiety disorder. Mr. Krabs represents obsessive-compulsive disorder and perhaps narcissistic personality disorder. Given how obsessed he is with money and putting it above all, even above his daughter Pearl, who in turn represents body dysmorphia disorder. 98% can't follow with their pinky finger, and now you know why.
They be diving deep.
The Simpsons, Jesus Christ Returns prediction. The Simpsons showed what they thought the world would look like before Jesus returns. The show listed signs that matched old prophecies. The weather went crazy everywhere. Earthquakes happened in places they never happened before. The sun looked different, sometimes dimmer than usual. Stars seemed to fall from the sky. The cartoon showed how people acted differently. Some got very scared and hid in their homes. Others stopped being nice to each other. Many forgot about helping their neighbors. Rich people like Mr. Burns tried to buy their way to safety, but some, like Ned Flanders, helped everyone they could. Lisa Simpson noticed more signs. Animals started acting strange. Plants grew at weird times. More disasters happened all over the world, and churches got full again. Near the end, a bright light appeared in the sky. It kept getting brighter each day. How many of you think that these signs are completed? And what do you think about the Jesus Christ return? Do you know why there are no humans in the Cars animation? If you've seen the movie, you know that all the cars have their eyes on their windshields. But in the second movie, when Mater is at the market, he meets a car named Selena del Fuego, whose eyes are on her headlights. Mater immediately runs away, and this leads to a theory. In the past, humans and their cars lived together. But as technology advanced, cars became intelligent and, in a short time, wiped out humanity entirely. Each car's personality actually reflects the identity of its last human driver. Only a few cars, like Selena, have survived from the time before humans went extinct, which also explains the existence of vehicles like taxis and buses.
I got lost.
Was Scooby-Doo trying to tell us something?
Scooby-Doo, your life is in danger.
Who?
I am of the Anunnaki, interdimensional beings that visit the planet Earth every few thousand years.
This episode got deep. After an underwater escapade, the gang runs into a mummy that whispers to them Nibiru. Velma looks it up and starts talking about real-life ancient religious texts from Babylon and how they believed a giant planet called Nibiru passed by Earth every few thousand years and allowed the Anunnaki inhabitants of Nibiru to mingle with life on Earth. Velma then starts saying how there's supposed to be a collision between Nibiru and the Earth, creating a doomsday event, which leads Scooby to have this spiritual vision and sees Nova the dog possessed by an Anunnaki, trying to warn him that his life's in danger. She tells him that her Anunnaki people have no physical form and must take over other bodies here on Earth in order to communicate. Most Anunnaki are good, she says, but some are very evil, and the most evil one is imprisoned in the mummy's tomb in Crystal Cove. So could that be what the ancient Egyptians actually used the tombs for? To keep the evil Anunnaki imprisoned from the last time they visited us.
Whoa. Whoa.
Did y'all know this about the Teletubbies? So in real life, the Teletubbies were actually very tall. See the oldest Teletubby here, Tinky Winky? This Teletubby stood at 10 feet tall.
What?
10 feet tall. The green Teletubby, Dipsy, was 8 feet tall. The yellow Teletubby was 6'5", and the red Teletubby was 6'6". The film was actually created on a large set to create the illusion that the Teletubbies were small. But these creatures, they was tall as hell. The location of the set was so secretive that visitors had to be blindfolded. But eventually word got out that the famous sloping hill was located in Wimpstone in England. And after the show ended, tourists began to flock the set. And the landowners got so fed up with the trespassers saying that this was never meant to be a tourist attraction. They had people hopping fences, crossing over the cattle fields. They was doing the most. So they ultimately decided to flood the set, and it's been underwater for almost 2 decades.
Whoa.
The set is now occupied by a family of swans and fishes. But can you imagine taking a dip in this pond and seeing this floating around at the bottom of it? I don't remember them being this creepy looking when I was a kid. I'm sorry.
They flooded the joint.
SpongeBob is a psychotic killer. In one episode, SpongeBob makes a Krabby Patty so perfect that he can't bear to see it be eaten, so he decides to take the patty home with him instead. SpongeBob becomes obsessed with this patty. Both Sandy and Patrick try to spend time with him, but he turns them down to spend more time with this patty. They end up going on a date where he takes it to the carnival, to the mall, and then they go to the beach. And the beach is where things turn dark. While SpongeBob isn't paying attention, some clams come by and try to eat the Krabby Patty. And to save his date, SpongeBob ends up killing 21 clams. And he absolutely destroys these things. He uses karate moves, crushing them on impact, and even rips apart some of them with his bare hands. It's just a gruesome act of savagery that's actually pretty shocking, considering him and Patrick once raised a baby clam. These innocent, defenseless creatures did nothing wrong, and yet SpongeBob ruthlessly murdered them to save the life of a non-living thing. And to make things worse, at the end of the episode, he decides to eat the Krabby Patty anyway. So these clams' deaths were for nothing. What has gone into SpongeBob?
This stuff is crazy, man.
Something that will never not be funny to me is the fact that the creators of South Park, King of the Hill, and The Simpsons all genuinely hated Family Guy so much at one point in time that when Family Guy was receiving a bunch of hate and criticism, they all came together and celebrated. Now, it's no secret that the creators of South Park hate Family Guy. Matt and Trey have openly said for years that they don't respect Family Guy's writing style and they think the jokes are lazy. But in the South Park special Cartoon Wars, Matt and Trey would infamously roast Family Guy, saying that the jokes are so bad and so random that they could literally be written by a group of manatees grabbing random balls with random topics on them.
Damn.
And to this day, this will go on to become one of the most infamous roasts of any cartoon in history, mainly because it caused a whole wave of fans to turn on Family Guy, agreeing that the jokes are terrible. But this is where it gets funny. After Family Guy started receiving this huge wave of hate, the team that works on The Simpsons and the team that works on King of the Hill reached out to Matt and Trey and told them that not only were they doing God's work, but they sent them flowers in the mail. And I can't even lie to you, if you're Seth MacFarlane, how do you even react to this?
All right, that was a TikTok compilation of conspiracy theories inside of cartoons and predictions, and y'all let me know in the comments, what do y'all think about the Simpsons stuff? Do y'all think, I mean, they predicted a lot of stuff. I can't even front to you. They predicted a lot of stuff. If you made it this far, make sure you drop real one for real in the comments. Don't forget to do that. But this was, it had you thinking, especially how they be putting hidden stuff inside of cartoons. That's why you got to be careful about, you know, what kids be watching. You got to make sure you vet that stuff. But hey, you made it this far, like I said, you a real one for real. I also got a TikTok playlist. If you into this stuff, you can binge watch it and just have your mind blown. But till next time, self-love and positivity, Fire Squad, I got you and you know it.